All right. Welcome back, my students. Now that you can run JavaScript with Node and basically go around importing and exporting and creating modules, so it's time to step into the real power of Node.js. So, which one is NPM? So, by the end of today's class, you would understand what NPM is, how to create a node project, and how uh, package.json works, and how to install packages, and also how to use global and local packages. So first of all, what is NPM? So basically, NPM is actually an acronym for Node Package Manager, and it is basically an app store. Let's just call it a collection. It basically called a container for every Node.js packages, and it's a tool for installing and managing dependencies. So because you could also see it as a system that helps you, uh, will I call it a system that helps your project. Maybe probably when you're working from a small team to a big team, so it helps you to properly manage your dependencies in as you grow. So now, every one thing you need to note is that every big backend project built with Node.js uses npm, and it's very very important. So starting from Express, Nest.js, Mongoose, Axios, and all. So they all come from npm. So you basically install all these packages from npm. So now, how do you create your first? Let me. So how do you create your first project folder? So to create your npm, let's just call it creating your npm. You could just use npm init, like what I did the last time. Npm init. Then if you press enter, it will ask you some questions, of which you could just keep pressing enter. Okay, yes. So it will create your package.json. But if you don't want it to keep asking you these questions, you could just say npm init, then I think yes for all. So it won't ask you those questions, it will just give you everything at once. So you can see that the thing we have here is called package.json. So now inside this your package.json, we need to break down some things. So now one of the most important thing here is the name. That is the name of the project, then the version, the semantic version. That is the version you're currently using. Now your npm version, you could change it. We say something like 1.2, but 1.0 makes sense. The next thing is the entry, like how where is the entry file for this your program or your API. So the entry file is what your index.js, which we would create now. So now we would have scripts. So this is what you'll be using. This is where your the command for running your Node.js backend. This is where they will be kept. So the rest are the keywords, the authors, the author information, probably your name, the license, then the type. That's how we want to be importing. So we could change this to what module. So we want to be importing by module. So now let's go to a website. So let's go to npm. So if I go to npm, so let's say I want to install Axios. So this Axios is a package for making fetches. So you could copy this. You could say npm install Axios. So you could say npm install Axios. Then you could come here, and you could come here and install. So you could say npm install ISOs. So if you press enter, so that's one of the way of installing. So if you press enter, it will create a new folder called node module. So can you see that we have a new folder called node module with everything that comes with it. Then our ISOs is in here. So these are other things, including our ISOs. Basically, these are other things that are required for our Node.js to run. But the most important thing we just installed is our ISOs. And you can see that part of the dependencies. Immediately we installed that, it was included here as part of the dependencies alongside the version that we are currently uh, using. So now another thing we need to install is let's say so let me create that my index.jx. So that's our entry. So this is our entry. So another thing we could install is this there's a package called node module. So it enables us to not keep restarting our server. So it restart our server for us. Like it keeps restarting our server for us. So we have okay. So we have node module. It's a tool that helps Node.js based application by automatically restarting the Node.js application when file changes. So we don't need to keep restarting to see our changes. So with NodeMon, I can restart. So we could go to, we could come here and paste it. So it should be installed and included. If you check our package.json, it should be included amongst our dependencies. So another thing is adding scripts. So scripts are the commands that are being executed for in our Node.js application. So now this index.js, let me say, let me add a code called I am working now. So now we could add a command. So beforehand, if I want to run this program, I have to do something like node what index.js, and before I could see this. Now I don't want to use node index.js. I want to use our NPM to keep running that command. So I could come here and say something like, so inside this our script, I could say something like start. So I want to start the server. So I could say node what index.js. So such that anytime I do something like npm run, so use npm to run that command because it's a command, run start. So can you see that I am working? So npm run start, it is working. And the next thing is let's say dev. So let's use that node1 index.js. So if I run npm run dev, now node1 will be the one running that server. So if I change this to I am finally working, so it should refresh. So can you see that? So we don't need to restart the server again. You can come here and say console.log, and this user is getting better at Node.js. So can you see that it is automatically running for us? So another thing we could do is to uninstall a package. Let's say you don't need your Azure's package anymore. Let's say you don't need this package anymore. Now you could do something like npm uninstall Azure's. So we could remove that package from our dependency. So can you see that Azure's is out of our dependencies? So that's one of the things you could do with npm uninstall. So one important thing you need to also note when creating all these things is called git ignore. So let's say you already connected your program with git, so you need to include your git ignore. So you have your dot git ignore. So what is it going to do? This is going to specify those files that you don't want to push to your git. So the most common one is you don't push your node module to your git. So you could have node module modules. So you don't push this to your Git. Now, so anytime you want to now push your files to your Git will push other files except whichever one you specify here. Something like node module or .env. That's where your secret keys used to be. So it's not going to push anything. Like anything inside this file is not going to push it to your GitHub. So now another thing you need to notice, let's say you want to update. So you could do npm update. You want to update all the old packages. So you could do npm update. So you can see that it is fully updated. It said up to date. So in case there is uh, an out of date package, so you could use npm update to update it. So that's basically all for this lesson. Thank you very much, and see you in the next lesson. Thank you.